Hello, this video I'm going to cover graphs of y equals a sine bx minus c and y equals a cosine bx minus c. So the graph of y equals a sine bx, where b is a positive number, it's going to have this basic shape. Your period is going to be 2 pi over b. So that's where these four numbers come from. Your amplitude is going to go up a units, and this graph will also go down a units. The basic graph of y equals a cosine bx, again where b is positive, you'll have the same shape as y equals a sine bx, except you'll have a phase shift of 90 degrees. Your period is still going to be 2 pi over b, and so this will still be pi over 2b, pi over b, 3 pi over 2b, and 2 pi over b. Same as the last one. Okay, it's going to go up a units and down a units. And that's your basic shape of y equals a cosine bx. We can add some twist. You can read about this on page 565, but your phase shift is going to happen. You want additive inverses. Your phase shift will happen at c over b points. Notice when x equals c over b, you have y equals a sine c over b minus c over b. That turns us into y equals a sine of 0. Sine of 0 is 0, which would go through the origin. So you want additive inverses here. So if you have x minus c over b, you're going to add c over b units. If you have x plus c over b, you'll subtract c over b units. For these four functions, a is your amplitude, 2 pi over b is a period. Yes, 2 pi over b is your period, and c over b is the phase shift. Let me show you how this works with some problems. Number 1 through 30, graph the function for one period, specify the amplitude, period, and the intercepts. So if we have y equals 3 sine x, this is going to have period. Your period is going to be 2 pi over b, and here your b is 1. So your period is going to be 2 pi. So I take 2 pi as the period, multiply that by 1/4, and that will give you your intervals. And so this will be pi over 2, 2 pi over 2, which is pi, 3 pi over 2, and then 4 pi over 2, which is 2 pi. And if you want, you can also go negatively, because this is a periodic function. This goes to infinity, both the positive and negative directions. Okay. Your amplitude is going to be 3, and so this graph will start at the origin, and it will go up to 3. Because when x is pi over 2, sine of x is 1. So you're having 3 times 1, which is 3 units up. This is 3, and this is -3. Okay? And then when x is pi, sine of pi is 0. Anything times 0 is 0. So this is going to cross the x-axis at pi. Similarly, when x is equal to 3 pi over 2, sine of 3 pi over 2 is -1. -1 times 3 is -3. So this point is going to be on the graph. Then it's going to come back up again. Similarly, in the opposite direction, it'll go here, And here, I can draw better than that. Something like that. Okay. Y is equal to sine of 3x. So here your period is going to be 2 pi over b. And here my b is 3. So standard position, go through 4 tick marks. This will be 2 pi over 3 is your period. What are these amounts? Multiply this by 1/4. So we have 2 pi over 3 times 1/4. And this will give you pi over 6. So then we're going to have 2 pi over 6, 3 pi over 6, and 4 pi over 6. 2 pi over 6 is pi over 3. 3 pi over 6 is pi over 2. And there we have our tick marks. And if you want, we can go negatively. This will be negative pi over 6. Okay. Here our A is 1, our amplitude is 1. So I can mark this. We're going to go 1 unit up, and we'll go negative 1 unit. We'll go 1 unit down. Okay. This is the sine function, so it's going to go through the origin. And we'll have this point, 2, 3. Okay. Something like that. Now we have y equals cosine of x over 2. So this is the same thing as, this implies we have y equals cosine of 1/2 x, if that makes the b stand out better. So the period is going to be 2 pi over b, but here b is 1/2. So we have 2 pi divided by 1/2. So here our period is 4 pi. 2 pi divided by 1/2 is the same thing as 2 pi times 2. Okay, so our period is 4 pi. Multiply this by 1/4 to see our intervals, or maybe you can see it's just 1 pi interval. So 1 pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, and if you want, we can go negative pi. Our amplitude is 1. Now cosine begins, our amplitude is 1, so we're going to go up 1 and down 1. And cosine, it's a periodic function, so it doesn't begin, it doesn't end, but let's say it begins here. When x is 0, cosine of 0 is 1. And then when, in this case, when x is pi divided by 2, cosine of pi over 2 is 0. Okay, and then similarly, when x is 2 pi divided by 2 is pi, cosine of pi is negative 1. Okay, back up to the middle, back up over, and if we want, we can go down to here. Okay. Oh, I didn't label some good points. Specify the amplitude. So this amplitude is 3. It's just a coefficient in front of the trig function. Period. Okay. Your period is going to be 2 pi. The x-intercepts happens when y is equal to 0. So the x-intercepts happen at, these are defined as, we have 0 plus 1 pi plus 2 pi, so 0 plus k pi. Okay, specify the amplitude, period, and x-intercepts. There we go. If you want to be more precise on this, this is where k is an integer, because this works negatively and positively. Okay. This one here, our amplitude is 1. Our period is 2 pi over 3. And the x-intercepts, these will be defined as the origin plus pi over 3, 2 pi over 3, 3 pi over 3. We're looking at k pi over 3. And this is also where k is an integer. Okay. Here, the amplitude is 1. Our period is 4 pi. And our x-intercepts here are, we're going to start at pi, and then plus 3 pi's intercept, negative pi. So it looks like the odd number intercepts, or the odd number of pi's. So 2k minus 1 is an odd number. And your odd pi numbers are the intercepts. Okay, now here, the period is, so this is the same thing. Okay, and so our period is going to be 4 pi. So we have, okay, our amplitude is 1/2 now. And so if you want, you can mark this as 1/2 up and 1/2 down. Okay, now a regular cosine is going to start from here, down, and around. This is negative, and so it's going to be reflexive about the x-axis. And so our points are going to start at negative 1/2 instead of positive 1/2. And then when when x is pi, cosine of pi over 2 is 0. And then when x is 2 pi, 2 pi over 2 is pi, cosine of pi is negative 1, but negative 1 times negative 1/2 is positive 1/2. Okay, this is the shape. Notice these x-intercepts are the same. That's because y is 0 at these intervals as well. And so here our amplitude is the absolute value. So our amplitude is positive 1/2. The period is going to be 4 pi. And the x-intercepts can be defined as Thank you very much. Please go to tutoring.